So, I just got to go see one of my more anticipated movies of 2025. I am talking about Warfare, the brand new film directed by Alex Garland. This is actually co-directed by Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza, a person, and correct me if I'm wrong, who is an actual soldier who was there on the day of the events this film is depicting. Alex Garland is one of my favorite filmmakers alive, not just as a director, but also as a writer. This is a guy who doesn't really make bad movies, and even the movies of his that I don't particularly love, I still appreciate for how out there they are and how just experimental he is kind of with his filmmaking. He makes these incredibly engaging sort of films that truly make you have to think about and explore the themes he is trying to convey to the audience. He also is really good at taking genres and kind of subverting expectations of those genres. I love his writing on 28 Days Later. I really love Ex Machina. It's one of my top 15 films of all time. Annihilation is great. Men is weird. And I really enjoyed last year's Civil War, a movie that I really thought was going to be a precursor to this. Civil War was a ginormous war movie about an American Civil War, and I heard that Warfare was going to be a real-life war story that he's co-directing with this guy who was actually there. He's going to take everything he learned in Civil War and bring it to the big screen at a gritty thriller experience that is just going to be so amazing, and I don't know, this felt more like a precursor to Civil War than Civil War feeling like a precursor to this. It's a good movie, a really good movie, but I do have some issues with it that I don't want to say made me disappointed, but it was just not really what I expected, which I guess is a good thing for Alex Garland. Because I kind of went in expecting more Civil War, and there are definitely elements in there that definitely feel similar, but no, this is a very different kind of movie. It's a very different movie in general when it comes to this genre. So Warfare tells the story of these Navy SEALs, or I believe they're Navy SEALs, who are in Iraq during the occupation of Iraq, this very not so good war that America fought. Thanks, Bush. And they come under attack, and that's pretty much this whole movie. This movie is essentially one long sequence of these men trying to survive this attack, and it's shot in what is actually real time, right? This film follows what feels like, and yet again, correct me if I'm wrong, the actual timeline of events that occurred. Like, this whole movie is an hour and a half long, and it feels like it's only taking place in an hour and a half period of time. We follow a bunch of different characters, none of which really feel like characters. We don't get to know any of them other than just their names and sort of what they show us on screen. Some of the actors, of course. Will Poulter is in here, and he is absolutely great. You also have Cosmo Jarvis from Shogun, who I think steals the show in his limited screen time here. He's so good. But really, the cast and the characters here are not super important because there is no performance or character that stands out from the rest. They're not supposed to. This is a movie about brotherhood, about survival, and about the traumas of war. And just really about showing what these men went through and what they had to do to survive. And it's a very different war movie. We get a lot of war movies sort of like this, about brotherhood, about these one traumatic event that might have happened during the war. Of course, you had Lone Survivor and Mark Wahlberg, right? You have even American Sniper that depicts some of that. Even Civil War depicts some of that. But this is a war movie that doesn't feel Hollywood, right? This feels like a simulation of an event that happened. There is no Hollywood in here. There's no incredible heroic event with beautiful music overhead or thrilling music to really bring together all the tense scenes of violence with guys killing each other. This isn't that. This is just like, you feel like you're almost watching a war documentary. It doesn't feel like there is a thematical sort of message the movie's trying to convey. It literally just feels like, hey, this happened to us. We want to show you what happened because it was fucked up. Yeah, and that might, throw some people off just because it's so gritty and it's such a real grounded movie in this world depicting these types of things that it might just kind of throw off somebody who's used to the Hollywood style sort of war films that we usually get that really insert the heroism and this grand nature of war, right? This does not try to glorify that at all. It is just a depiction of events that had occurred, which I truly didn't really expect because I kind of thought I was going to get like a Civil War experience where that movie also does not glorify war. In fact, it makes war look as brutal and horrible and chaotic as humanly possible, but there definitely is a larger story and a lot of dramatic moments and characters, and this just doesn't really have that, which I probably should have expected since it's a true story and Civil War is not a true story. Yet! We'll see what happens. I mean, listen, the world's crazy. I really did like how the action was depicted in this movie. I mean, it is brutal. It is punchy. The bullets that are flying by these guys, it feels like it's flying through the theater. Like, I've never had punchier gunshots in a movie before. I don't think I've ever seen a movie with punchier gunshots. They are absolutely terrifying in this film. The explosions, every event feels absolutely dangerous. The sound design in this movie is unbelievable. It's probably the best aspect of this movie. It's just a masterclass in sound engineering. The cinematography is also really good. I felt like I was in Iraq, because I also think they might have filmed it in Iraq, exactly where this happened. Yet again, correct me if I'm wrong. But the one thing I will say about this film is I do appreciate how it is a very, very different movie than Civil War, because I kind of went in with the expectations that, yeah, it would be sort of a follow-up to Civil War, Alex Garland building what he learned there, but I should have been smarter and realized that Alex Garland's not that type of filmmaker. He's the type of filmmaker that does something different with pretty much every movie. So just because he had made a war movie literally a year ago does not mean he is going to make a new war movie with the same exact goal, the same exact filmmaking style, and all that involved. Of course, that's not what he did. Of course, he actually made this with another guy, so that person, Ray Mendoza, had a ton of influence in the direction of the film, and they went for something completely different than Civil War. With Civil War being a thematic story, a study of journalists in war, a study of our country in war, this feels very different. It just feels like a study of this event that occurred and sort of honoring the men that were involved in this situation. There are moments where it feels like it's trying to say something grander about the state of that occupation, about Iraq, and how pointless the whole thing was, but the film never really fully dives into that and to make it feel like it was really the center point of this film. But yet again, there's a lot of stuff that I really enjoyed about this film. It flies by, that's another thing. It's a short movie, about an hour and a half, and my God, you do not feel it. I was shocked when this movie ended because I felt like it had just started, so that's a good thing. Movies usually feel longer these days. But it just ended up being a little bit more forgettable than I think I was at least hoping for. I was hoping this was going to be one of the best, theater experiences of the year, and I think it probably will be for a lot of people. For me, I think I just went in with the wrong expectations, and it took out, and it hurt the experience a little bit for me, but I still really loved this film, I'm not gonna lie. So I will give Warfare a 3.5 out of 5, and a big recommendation to go check this out if you're going to the movies this week. Just beware if you're looking for a normal Hollywood sort of biographical war film. This is not that. If you're looking for something like, I think the closest comparison I can give this to, it feels like a smaller version of like Dunkirk. The way Dunkirk was just this grand, big budget sort of depiction of the evacuation of Dunkirk, and there's really not a lot of story there, there's not a lot of themes, there's not a lot of character, it's just about the men getting out of Dunkirk, and that sort of threw some people off. This is that on a smaller scale, a much, much smaller scale. I'll also say the most effective part of this movie was the drive home. Like, I drove home from this movie, and I just appreciated everything more. I'm looking around our beautiful country, and I'm just like, wow, the trees are green, the sky is blue, the houses aren't blowing up, and you know what? Hallelujah. What do you guys think of Warfare? Let me know down below. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more, turn on notifications. I'll see you in the next one.